let's talk about confidence. Do you need it? How do you get it? What's important about it, like how you build it, all of the things to do with confidence. That's what we're going to talk about. I have some notes so that I don't forget what I want to say to you all. But the first thing that I want to say about confidence is you don't actually need confidence to move forward. And I think a lot of personal development and like creative conversations are about building up your confidence, and for sure I'm going to touch on some things to do with that in this live. But the main thing that I want to say is that you don't actually need it. Like, I think that we see people that we think are confident doing things in a way that we think are confident, and one, I have no idea if those people actually are confident. I know a lot of times when people say that I'm confident about something, I'm actually not. There's a variety of other things that I'm going to talk about, like the options to confidence a little bit later, but we never actually know if someone is confident. We just like have this idea that that's what we need to be able to do things well, or even to get started with something. Like, when I feel confident, then I will do this thing. Or, you know, like, once I'm confident with my skills, then I'll share it with someone else. And it's fine. You can certainly choose to do that, but you're probably going to be waiting a really long time because you're not actually defining what that's going to look like, feel like, what needs to happen before you have the confidence. Like, you're just hoping that it just naturally happens. And I think a lot of times when confidence does naturally happen, we don't notice it. So it's just this like this circular situation, like what catch-22. It's like a catch-22. We're like waiting to feel confident. We don't notice when we do feel confident. And so we're just like never getting there, right? Or when we're there, we're not utilizing it, noticing it, having any sort of awareness about it. So the first thing that I want to say is that confidence is really not as important as everybody says. Like, you can do a lot of things without confidence. I think the thing to really be mindful of, instead of focusing on how not confident you are and how you should feel more confident, is, and not to focus on doubt, but finding the opposite of the doubt that you have. So like releasing the doubt, like that would be a much more useful thing to do versus seeking confidence. Because I think a lot of times we just get really graspy with this feeling of what confidence is. So instead of that, what are you feeling doubtful about, and how can you create more inner security about that thing? How can you create more belief in the thing that you're trying to do? So let's just, for example, say that you want to feel confident so you can share your music with the world, whatever. Instead of focusing on like, well, I need to build confidence before I share, what am I feeling doubtful about? Like, why am I not feeling, what is the thing that's making me not feel confident? And addressing that instead. I think that's like a much more useful way of going about it, is like, what is the thing that I'm feeling doubtful about? What is the thing that's in my way? Why am I not feeling confident right now? Like, what is the feeling that I'm having about it? What am I waiting for? What is the thing, the ethereal thing that I'm waiting for? It could be you want your music to sound better, like you want to have better skills. And that sentence alone is very vague and not giving you a lot of information either. So like, you just want to keep going deeper with the questioning. And this is what I do with my clients. This is what coaching is all about, is really getting to the root of like, so what does that mean? What does it mean to be better? Let's define that. And sometimes when you define it and you have awareness over it, you realize you actually have the thing that you think you don't have, or you have a really clear path to getting there. So if you're like, I don't feel like my songs are good enough, or they need to be better, defining what good enough or better means, you might discover within that, like, oh, it actually is good enough. Like, I certainly could share this right now, and then I just continue to get better. Or you might say, okay, like, I'm not doing so well with these transitions on guitar, so like, this is the path that I want to get to feel confident, or to feel like I want to share this with the world. It's totally fine to not want to share something, to not want to go forward with something, but you just want to investigate, like, why? What is the thing that's between you and this idea of confidence? And then the part of it of, like, you might already have it. One, you might discover that you already have it with the thing that you want to be doing, that you're, like, waiting for it to feel confident. You're waiting for this feeling that might not exist. But it might exist, and it might exist in another area of your life, and you can actually just borrow that confidence there for the thing that you're doing. So for example, maybe you're really confident in your baking skills. You're like, I am an excellent baker. Like, I don't have any doubts about my ability to bake. I would bake for anybody. My pies are amazing. They're the best. And you're like, but I, like, do not feel great about my guitar skills. Like, don't feel like I would share that with anyone. Don't feel good about that. You can borrow this confidence that you have about your pies, about your baking, and tap into that confidence. Discover, why do I feel confident about that? Like, you can do some thought work. You can work with your coach. Talk about, like, why am I feeling confident in this area? What are my thoughts about that are different from my thoughts about guitar? How can I borrow some of that? Even if the levels of, like, confidence are so varied, you can get a little bit closer by investigating the thing that you are confident about and the thing that you're not confident about. What am I thinking about my pies? I may be thinking, like, I've done this for a long time, and so I just naturally know that they're good. Or you might be thinking, I know how to do this, and so that makes me feel confident. Or I've tasted them, they taste really good. Like, I enjoy the pies myself. I enjoy this thing, so I think that it's good enough to share. Or you might think a very useful thought, which is, I don't really care if you agree with me or not. I like my pies, and so I feel confident to share it with you. If you disagree, that's fine, but, like, I feel confident in my own truth about this. And that is something that you can think anytime about anything. And that's the big thing that I want to share, aside from just, like, confidence isn't really necessarily the goal. I think a lot of times when we are looking at someone who we think is confident, what's probably happening a lot more often than you think is that they're just not caring about other people's opinions. Not that feedback isn't welcome. I think that can be sometimes a blurry line for people, but that they are not swayed by other people's opinions. Like, they're standing strong in their own opinion about something, and their own opinion could be varied about how confident or not confident or skill level, whatever. Like, it could be all over the place, but they're standing strong in their own opinion about themselves and their skills, and they're standing strong in having their own back. So having your own back and not being swayed by other people's opinions about yourself, those are more useful than really focusing on this feeling of confidence. And I think that is a lot of what confidence ends up coming from, is just, like, having your own back, having self-trust, and trusting your own opinions about things versus someone else's. There's my dog barking, so welcome to my life. Because why does it matter? Like, when you are feeling confident, that's what's going to happen. Is if you're going out with confidence and then someone says something like, oh, that wasn't very good, and you're like, oh yeah, you're right, then you weren't that confident to begin with. So truly, like, this is the backbone of confidence, is, like, I'm having my own back about my opinions, and if someone dissents, someone has a differing opinion from me, I welcome it, and it doesn't sway my own opinion. That's the much more useful way to go about it. And so what you would do if you want to really build confidence is to just look at all of the things that you're feeling doubtful about and go through them and identify them and decide how you can have your own back on those things. And that doesn't mean you have to change your opinions about, like, your skill level or how good something is or whatever. Like I said before, identify and really clarify what you mean by, like, good enough or better or whatever, because these are all really subjective. So when I say have your own back, it's decide for yourself what that means. Like, what is good enough? Where is my skill level? I can be confident and secure and have trust of myself in where I'm at right now and still be growing. I think that's another thing that gets in people's way is like, well, I know where I'm at and I'm deciding not to feel good about it because I know I have further to go, versus I know where I'm at. I know I can get even better than I am right now, but I can still stand strong in where I am right now. Like there's no judgment or shame in where I am right now. That's not a bad thing. Like when I was just learning guitar, I shared a lot of it, and I then and now look back and was like, that was not very good. It like for me subjectively, like I didn't think it was very good, but that wasn't the point. So another piece of this too is like when you're thinking of what you want to have confidence for, what is the purpose of the thing that you're doing that you want confidence for? Know that and stand strong in that versus the feeling of confidence. So like if what you want confidence for is like sharing something, why are you sharing it? Do you actually need confidence for that? Or can you just like hold really strong in why you want to do this thing? If you want to play shows, if you want to put your music out into the world, your art out into the world, if you want to go for a job you've never gone for before, if you want to start your own business, if you want to whatever, have the goal. And the confidence is just not that important. Like you just come back to your commitment to the goal versus how you think you want or need to feel in order to achieve it. You can always create a feeling, but you don't want to react to just like the feelings that are coming up, because along the way you're gonna have feelings that are doubtful, and you just identify the doubt and then basically call bullshit on it. Like that's what I do for myself. Anytime I'm like feeling doubt about something, I just identify it. I'm like, what am I feeling doubtful about? And then I call bullshit on it. Like, how could I feel differently about this? How could I think differently about this? How could I have my own back in this? Like doubt just doesn't really serve me because it's taking me out of the current moment. Doubt is thinking about how something is going to turn out. You don't have doubt about just like I'm just here right now. What would I be doubtful about unless I was thinking about something in the future or perhaps like something that happened in the past? Come back to the present moment, remind yourself like what am I working on and why, and that is much more important than this feeling of confidence. But if you want to build this feeling of confidence, again, it's just saying like, can I have my own back in this moment? Can I determine, clarify my own opinions about what I'm doing, and then stand strong in my opinions about it without being swayed by outside forces? Because again, like if you're going to be swayed by other people's opinions, that's not confidence. That's then you're then outsourcing your confidence to other people. You're then needing other people to validate you in order to have confidence. And that's a natural thing. It's not like there's any shame in that happening because it's just natural. It happens. But just understand that then that's not you holding your own confidence anyway. So it all comes back to having self-trust and determining your own opinions about yourself, determining your own goals and where you want to go with your life and what kind of life you want to live. And that's the much more important thing. What else was my... Yeah. So those are my main things about confidence. It is not that important, but if you want to build it, build your self-trust and have your own back on your own opinions about yourself and clarify those opinions about yourself and clarify your goals for where you want to go and know your why for those goals. And those will be the thing that you want to focus on much more than the feeling of confidence. And then just not really giving a frick about other people's opinions. Those are the main things to do with confidence. And if this is something that you have questions about, drop them in the comments, even if it's you're watching the replay, or you can DM me and we can talk about it. I know this comes up for a lot of creatives, and I talk about this with my clients all the time. I think confidence is kind of the other side to imposter syndrome. So it's just kind of, I think they're very interrelated. And I know that imposter syndrome is a big challenge for a lot of creatives. So I think that if you can have your own back and just stand really strong in where I am right now, knowing also where I want to go, those can just exist separately. They don't have to be in not resistance, what is the word, like combating each other. I think a lot of times we think that like because I'm not where my goal is, then I'm not doing this right, I don't deserve to have confidence, I'm an imposter. And you just are where you are, and this is where you want to go, and you're just moving towards it. That's it. It's neutral. You're just moving towards it, and here's where you are. And once you get there, you're gonna set it. You're gonna want to go further. So understand, like, you're just always going to level up. It's not a problem. It's wonderful, and you are enough right now. What do you know enough of? Like I said, like, borrow your own confidence from something else in your life. Investigate, why do I feel confident in this other thing in my life? How can I adopt my thoughts about that for this thing that I'm not feeling confident in? You can always borrow your own success for whatever it is that you want to have success in. It is a very useful tool to use. This is the kind of work that I do with my clients. If you really want to build that self-trust and build that self-confidence, that is something that I work on one-on-one with clients, and we work in a 6-month container. And so you really gain that self-trust. Like, my clients, it's just like the best thing to witness and guide and watch is someone building that self-trust to where they really are, for lack of a better term, like bulletproof. Like, you know, you really have your own back, and you have self-trust, and confidence isn't even really a part of the picture because it's just having your own back. It's just having self-trust. And when you have that, you make decisions very confidently, you share very confidently, you stand really strong in your beliefs, you create really confidently. So it just like is a byproduct of having your own back and having self-trust. So if that's something you want to work on, I have some clarity calls available. You can book one at the link in my bio, or you can DM me and we can talk about it. But I hope that this was helpful for you. Let me know if there's anything you're struggling with confidence, or anything that I talked about in this live, and I will see you all next time. Bye.